Welcome to Two Girls, One Pod.
Slay.
Yeah. Sorry. Please. Oh, my God. I mean, you know people that say you don't need an introduction? I hate that because everyone needs an introduction. Otherwise, no one knows who the hell you're talking about. But that slay came from this slay master, Milo Hartill. Has anyone ever called you that before?
I used to get Hilo a lot because like Hilo, Milo and milk.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, like you remember Hilo milk?
No, I've never heard of Hilo milk.
It must be a WA thing. It's just like...
Is that where you're from?
Yeah.
All right, before we get into that, this is Milo Hartill, everyone. She is sitting in the hot seat this week, this episode, and you may know her, you may not know her. I want to say where I first know you from was the Google ad.
Yes.
And I thought... when I saw it, it was during COVID.
Yeah, it was during the Olympics.
Like helping each other kind of thing. Like, were you shopping for an elderly person?
I sure was.
Okay. Because I remember it kept coming on, which is weird because I don't watch sport. So it means somehow it's gotten into my feed or something because if it was being shown during the Olympics, it must have been shown through all the shows.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it was, I feel like just everyone was watching TV because of the Olympics and we're in lockdown.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I saw it and I just remember you were so beautiful, but then your smile, you had this smile, still have it, thank God, but it was so lovely to see that this woman of colour, a fat woman and a young woman who was on TV that really, to me, I was like, this is what I want to see. This is really what I want to see. And we're seeing it. We're seeing it now. This is really happening in I've always thought things like that may never happen in my lifetime. And I, recently have been thinking, I watched Anne Juliet and I watched Amelia and things like this, women's stories being told. And I had this little breakdown because I was like, I'm 50 and what I feel like I've missed out on, it really upsets me.
Yeah. Because
I think my life would have been
better.
Had I been given opportunities to talk, had there been, fat people on TV that I could look at and feel, a connection with, it would have been a different world for me. How does that feel for you? Welcome, by the way. Thanks. I've just gone straight in, but I'm so glad that you exist.
I mean, I'm baby.
How old are you?
23.
23! Great age.
Yeah, it's a wild one. It's like you're not quite young enough that you get ID'd all the time, but you're not quite old enough that people see you as a real adult. It's just
Yes. You still get away with a few things, making mistakes and stuff like that, but you're figuring things out and you're starting to really get smart.
No, exactly. And I'm very scared for when I stop being the youngest person in the room because when you're the youngest person in the room, you can do silly things and people don't really bat an eyelid. They just go, oh, she's 23.
Yeah.
But when I'm, say, 26, they won't be saying that anymore.
That's true. Well, you'll be looking at the 23-year-olds rolling your eyes. So.
I'll be going, oh, God. Back in my day, in 2023.
Well, 23 is a very different age to 33 as well. And I went through this myself. You think you know everything at 33, you really do, and you start to really put it on people. Like you're figuring things out and you've got a good decade of wisdom, but it's still really wrong.
Yeah.
And you do not know that. I probably shouldn't tell you that because you'll get to 33 and you might remember this conversation. But at 33...
She had no idea what she was talking about. I know everything.
Yeah, and by the time you get to 43, you're like, oh God, I'm embarrassed about what the shit. And I'm just really glad Instagram was around. My friend and I laugh all the time because we were into Eckhart Tolle and Brené Brown and we were the power of now. And, live, laugh, love, pray, that book, everything.
Yeah, sometimes you must.
Such wankers. We went to Bali to visit the psychic or the guru that the woman Elizabeth Gilbert did.
Did I tell you your life?
Oh, shit. We were wankers.
Was she right?
No, God, no. She took out 25 Australian dollars and and the 90 people behind us.
What a cow.
I think she was about 100 and that's fine. I was like, you go, girl. You
Good for her. Get that coin.
Yeah, because someone else has got coin from you.
Yeah.
So why not?
Question.
Yes.
Am I allowed to swear?
Yes.
Okay,
We will probably bleep it out. But it depends on what.
Because I just swear sometimes it comes out and then I go, oh, shit. God.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Dicks.
Same.
Bitch. I don't know. Oh.
I hate being censored in that way, that you have to do it in yourself
In
rather
your mind.
Yeah, just we'll it out if we find it really bad, but otherwise you can't talk properly.
Okay, good.
Your thought process, so go for it.
Thank you.
Shit yourself.
Yeah.
So you are a model.
Yep.
You are a performer.
Yep.
BLM advocate.
Yep.
And self-titled fat and queer content creator.
That's me.
Loving it. You aim to be a safe space to represent those that feel that they could never make in Australia's modelling, screen and stage industries, which is wonderful. How do you feel the difference?
I mean, I feel like... So I've only really properly been in the biz for like 4-ish years. In the actual professional acting, performing world, more like 2. But modelling I started in 2019.
How did you get into that?
It was a mix of things. It was like I saw this beautiful model called Basha and another model called Jasmine, and I cannot remember her surname, but I saw them in like an ad campaign on the street and I was like, whoa, those girls are not skinny and they're black and they're really beautiful and they're modelling, like crazy. Not for me, but crazy. And then I met one of the agents of the first agency I was with just at a nightclub, and they were like, oh, have you ever considered modelling? Like, here's my card. I absolutely cussed them out because I thought they were taking the piss of me. Yeah,
Really?
I was like, F you, who do you think you are, coming up to some fat black girl and like, do you feel proud of yourself? Do you feel clever, trying to make someone feel like they're beautiful and you've never met them before? And they were like,
So you went on ecstasy that night?
No, I was freshly 18. I was...
Oh, my God, yes, and angry and
Yeah. Well, I was like...
standing up for yourself.
I was like, how dare you? You know that black fat women don't model. That's so rude. How dare you try to make me feel like that? And they were like, all right, I'm just going to give you this. You keep it.
It's legit.
And I'll be back. And I hope to hear from you. And I called my mum the next day and I was like, oh, you'll never guess what happened. Blah, 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 blah. And then they said I should model for them like I'm an idiot. And my mum was like, let me have a look. And she looked it up and she was like, no, it looks reputable. And I remember you saying you have a free period on Fridays from uni. So I've just like popped it in.
And that was the beginning.
And that
what
was
was
the
your
beginning.
first gig? First booking?
Durex. I did an ad for Durex.
Awesome.
It was hilarious because at that time I was not sexually active at all.
Wow.
And
well, you don't have to be.
But it was like a camera piece. It was like a tell us about your experience with contraception.
Yeah,
and I was like, well, of course I use it and it's awesome.
Helps.
And you know, I'm not a good thing. No pregnancies here because I do know how to. I know how to do it. So, and anyone who says I don't is a liar. So. And as well, I'm very gay. So as well, it was all about condoms, and I'm there like, love when they have penises, and I do that because I love it. Love it.
Can I ask you about your queerness? So you're gay?
Gayish, gay-esque.
A pan?
Like I was,
do you think?
Bi for a while, pan for a while. I don't know where I sit. I love people that are queer and they like me back, and that's where I'm at.
Yeah, and there's attraction comes in all shapes and sizes, doesn't it? So that's really good. I like that. I think one day we'll, you know, and like I was saying earlier, not in my lifetime, but there's going to be hopefully one day kind of just such fluidity in gender that it's not even spoken about. I mean, it is only spoken about because, you know, we're flirting with each other or saying, no, I'm not interested, but it's got nothing to do with, you know, what we were born with.
Yeah. It's very funny. Like being queer and a part of the queer community has been something I've always been super duper proud of and loved being a part of. But even as a 23-year-old proud queer, like I come from a pretty accepting family in terms of queer identities, and even still, like, I'm like, do I like men just because I think I have to, or because I actually do? And it's a constant when I'm thinking about my identity. I'm like, I don't know where I stand.
And I imagine a lot of people are going through the exact same thing.
Absolutely.
And do for years and years.
Absolutely. So many people I know are like, yeah, well, everybody thinks that women are pretty, right? And I'm like, Yeah, but not everybody wants to,
bang one.
yeah. tongue them down.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So if that's
There's attraction and being attractive.
Yeah, exactly.
You can say that she is so attractive, but
Yeah.
I'm not attracted to her.
Exactly. I know
So,
lots of gay men who think I'm very hot, but are we going to be getting down in those sheets?
With the Durex?
No. But I will give them out.
Yes, good. So you are from WA?
I am.
Perth?
Yeah.
Perth is such a great place.
I love Perth.
Do you miss it?
I miss the beach and the weather and my family.
Yeah.
And my friends who are still there.
But the opportunities are not the same, are they?
No. When I go to Perth when I need a bit of like quiet time.
Yeah.
Because
Beautiful
nothing
at home.
happens.
Yeah, yes.
And there's the beach.
Yes, and the Freo Doctor every afternoon.
Of course.
I love that wind. I love it because I didn't get it when I first got there and everyone's leaving. I'm like, why is everyone, what's going on? And then I was
You've been
like,
a Perth girl?
no, well, I've just been there. And I loved it so much. You know, I couldn't understand why everyone was leaving the beaches and everything. And then I was told the Freo Doctor comes every afternoon, which is a wind that really does come every day.
Yeah. I went to high school in Freo.
Wow.
And the journey home was like,
oh, wow. So you have a diploma in musical theatre and a degree in fine arts.
in fine arts musical theatre.
Where did you go?
I went to WAPA and VCA.
Oh, my God. I was going to say, did you go to WAPA?
I
Because
sure
that's the
did.
other thing in WA that is the bomb.
It sure.
As far as opportunities go, may not be in Perth, but as far as schools go, NIDA and WAPA, you know, they're kind of the leading ones and they still are.
And VCA.
And VCA,
is,
yes.
I'm very grateful that I went there to do my 3-year. Because as much as all of the drama schools are pretty problematic, VCA in the scheme of things is heading in the right direction.
Right, good. Yeah, because VCA's got a great reputation.
Yeah, they were had a good time.
That's so great. So, and I love musical theatre so much.
Yeah,
Is that what you want? Do you want to just do everything or do you have like a passion?
I mean, I just like to have fun. That's what I want to do is try and have as much fun.
Enjoy yourself.
In my lifetime. I think I see people in the generation up from me. Like I see my mum and my family and the work that they do, and work is like, you know, something that you go and you do and it's like you make your money and I'm like, I don't want to do that. I want to have fun as much as I can.
I know exactly what, like, I believe, you know, you shouldn't work to live. You shouldn't live to work. You should work to live.
Exactly.
You know, and if you do what you love, then they say, you know, you never work a day in your life if you're doing what you love. That's not true because you really can work really hard doing something you love. But I get the gist.
Yeah,
of
easier to
that.
stay motivated if you're like, this is fun, I want to go to work.
Well, that's why I love this podcast so much that I can't believe I get paid for it.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, this is really, because I would don't tell my bosses, I would do this for free.
All right.
I love it so much.
Can we cut that from the edit? Yeah, can we cut
I'm
that from the
watching my
edit?
producer, she's laughing at it because she knows that's so untrue. No, it's true. It's true.
Look at her laughing in there.
But everything, like I came into the entertainment industry late. I was always wanted to be an actor all my life.
Right.
And then it wasn't until, and I was always, and this is what breaks my heart at myself, I had that old-fashioned adage, when I lose weight, this. When I lose weight, that. And then when I got into my early 40s, I had given up. I used to be a professional singer and I used to work on stage. I'd been to drama school. I did all the things.
Would you go back?
Would I go back?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, I would love to. I would love to go back.
It's never too late.
It is, you know, what my mother would always say, you're not dead yet, doll. That was her saying, you're not dead yet, doll. So, you know, Susan Beryl's probably here in this moment is telling Milo, say this to her, it's never too late. That for me, I came in to my own late, especially into the entertainment industry. So I have a completely different look at the entertainment industry and the work that's involved because I know how hard it is to have a really awful, tiresome, boring job that you are just watching the clock constantly and questioning everything about your life and why, why am I here? Why am I doing this? So coming into this entertainment industry at 40, I was like, I'm never going to take one thing for granted ever again. So it's kind of nice I see that you have that naturally.
Ah, thanks. Drama school definitely
Got that in you?
got that in me, but also tried to beat it out of me.
Right.
And, I would look around at the other people in my class and be like, God, they all have it so easy and don't realise, on a financial level, on a privilege level, on the amount that they would have to work to get the same results as me, or and it just made me so determined to make things work and to prove that doesn't matter what you look like, doesn't matter who you are, if you've got the skill set and you've got the talent, firstly, you should feel like there is a place for you to be able to do stuff in the entertainment industry, but also that I'm here and I exist and I'm good and I'm a nice person and I will give you a laugh if you're nice to me, and
you deserve to have that place in the world. One of my favourite Instagrams of yours is you on stage in lingerie. Honestly, you have one of the most beautiful bodies I've ever seen.
Thank you.
You really do. It is so beautiful. And you carry it like you love it. You do, don't you?
I do.
And it is
very
so
lucky.
nice to see that, because I follow so many fat creators and I am so in love with all of them. But you seem to be for me, just that little bit extra that, especially in my age, we have to work really hard to love our bodies because we've spent so many decades hating it and being told to hate it.
Absolutely.
And where did you get this from? Oh, I could just go back to my favourite Instagram?
Yeah.
Is you on stage dancing, which looks like you're walking on a treadmill or a catwalk, because we can't see your feet, but we can see your whole body. And the caption above you says, me just about to smack a skinny bitch when she says I'm feeling fat. Me on my way to smack a skinny bitch who's saying, I feel fat. All my thin friends, they bristle at me when I'm like, fat is not a feeling.
Yeah.
It is my body shape.
Yeah.
And I need you to understand how incredibly insulting it is when you say, can you not put that up on the, I look fat in that.
I'm like, no, you don't. What do you mean? No, I love it. I've started when people say I feel fat, I'm like, oh, congrats. And then they
Lucky
go, what?
you.
And I go, you feel like me? You must feel so good.
Good.
You must feel so incredible. You're welcome.
And you in a John Paul Gaultier beautiful dress.
The dress was very slay.
It was so good. And you saying, but can we just talk about how good my hands look right now?
Yeah. Their hands were slay.
Yes, please, more. I can't get enough.
I feel very, I looked back at, I posted something a few weeks ago that was a picture of me that I had gotten taken with an incredible photographer called Laura Juvet for an art series she did that was the backs of naked fat women with big wigs.
Stunning.
And I posted that because I got it, the print and I was like, oh my God, it looks so good. But even as someone who, I love my body and I've come to a place where I've been really lucky to be like, yeah, I'm really sexy. Even coming from that face, showing my back rolls was really vulnerable for me.
Yes.
And it just made me think back to, I did a reel that was like a comparison of me in all of that glory and then a picture of me from when I was 16 covering my tummy in a picture and leaned over. And I just was like, whoa, I've come so far with my body. And even then, I fought really hard to be like, no, I'm proud of myself and I'm proud of my body. And I'm not an ugly person because I'm fat. I'm just a person.
And you happen to be beautiful as well, which everyone is. But what was your upbringing like as far as that? You say you have a supportive family. Do you have siblings?
I have a little sister.
That you have a mum, and your dad you don't know. Or you
don't talk to. Nah.
No.
I know who he is, but he can stay on his goat farm in Botswana as far away from me as possible.
Because you did a little story on that you're on another podcast talking about that, and you're making
Sure
a
am.
joke. And then I said, which I always wanted to say to you, I hope you didn't in any way take offence at me saying, I'm sorry that, but at the same time, like, there's so many dickhead men in the world that I'm just so glad that you don't
Absolutely.
have to be around one.
No, as well. And it was just such a funny message that my dad replied to an Instagram story of mine being like, if you had took a walk in the sun, you would lose your stomachs. And I said...
Stomachs, that's right, stomachs.
I said, stomachs plural.
Yeah.
Firstly, somebody's got to teach you some basic anatomy. Secondly, I don't think you grasp how active my life is. Like, I am a musical theatre performer, backup dancer for drag queens. I model near full-time. Like, there's not much more things I could do. A walk in, the Melbourne winter sun is not going to be helping me lose any more weight than...
I love that he brought the sun in, though. Like, what does it melt?
I
Things?
don't know. I just am like, how long's this walk? 6 hours? Like, where do you think I'm finding that time, Dad?
So does he contact you like that?
No, the last time he messaged me before that was to tell me that my ancestors would haunt me if I didn't come to the goat farm. And I said, whose ancestors, Dad? Yours? Like, I don't know you
I
like that.
reject them.
Literally. I'm like, sorry, I don't get to take the ancestral blame and guilt when I've spent approximately a few weeks of my life with you.
Yeah, right. Good on you. Oh,
Boring.
God, I'd love to say that to my dad. I'll tell you right now.
Ancestral guilt. I'm going, girl, you need to address that. If you ain't accepting it, it ain't coming to me.
Oh, my God, I love it. Michaela Cole just came out there. That's so good. So talking about women who are fat and are really healthy and fit, Lizzo is, I always go to her and say, watch this woman run on a treadmill and sing at the same time. Like, I'm sorry, that stupid woman from The Biggest Loser in America who has a go at her all the time, who, I'm sorry, looks like a corpse. She's so ill from whatever she's doing to herself to stay.
Well, from bloody the world's, like, social ideal of what beauty is
And what health is.
corpse-like, looks like a child,
Yeah.
hair, like it's white supremacy, fat phobia, and ageism. Is,
Patriarchal.
yeah, it's
all of it.
scary.
Scary. So can we talk about Lizzo? You did a post the other day.
I sure
which was
did.
great.
Thank
Really,
you.
really great. And a really great points. So many people, the comments are hideous. I hardly ever read comments, but it took me 3 days to go and start actually looking at any comments about the story. And I was not disappointed because I knew exactly what I was going to get myself in for. But at the same time, it just makes me ill. So I'm really glad that you said, which your point was, you don't need to be fat phobic to talk about someone who is
Being accused
of something. Can we talk about the allegations?
Yeah.
What do you think about that? Because you didn't put that in, and I haven't publicly either said anything.
I think I'm like, honestly, none of us know what really happened.
That's right.
And I feel like all people who work in spaces like we work in and are fat women were pretty devastated when it came out. Just because there's so few people when you are, like for me, a fat black queer performer, to be able to go, that's something I can aspire to. But also, like, that is an example of all of the things that I feel like in this fat phobia debate, which, existing shouldn't be a debate, but unfortunately to a lot of the world it is. Mm-hmm. And it was, such an easy touch point to be like, you say that all fat people aren't fit. Well, look at Lizzo. You say that all fat people are advocating for being unhealthy and eating badly. Look at Lizzo. You say that fat people are this and that. And like, it was just an easy touch point. Everybody knew who it was to be like that. And the fact that these allegations have come out, I don't know, it doesn't, to me it doesn't, but it feels like to a lot of fat phobic, problematic, right-wing-esque Fitspo freaks that everything they've said's been proven right.
Exactly. That's what shits me to tears.
Yeah, it's like...
Because the allegations may not be
true.
Well, they might be true-ish.
Yeah.
They might be lie. I don't think they are. Like, I'm a big advocate for believe women, believe victims.
Same.
But I also like the allegations, reading the allegations. There was one particular one where it said that we had to re-audition for our parts as backup dancers. And I was thinking, this industry's hard.
Yeah.
Like, we sometimes have to in most industries you can have to, my friend who works at the ABC just had to reapply for his job.
Yeah.
The same job. This is an industry that we work in that is just one of many that set a really high standard. And also there was there was something said which I took as a thinly veiled insult about my weight. I'm like, well, you can't assume then that someone has... So, obviously this is going to go through a court of law. I don't know if it's a court of law or a civil court. Like, so they're very different. I don't know what the case is.
The actual...
Right.
Alec, because I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a person who does those things.
Well, I read it because I thought this will be really, because it was in layman's terms, and it was, but there was just that one. I'm like, well, this could be just a case of sour grapes.
Yeah,
but there's so many. And actually, the one thing that I think we really need to point out is it's not. Most of them are not at Lizzo. They're at her dance captain.
Yeah,
which is one thing. But also, it's Lizzo is the umbrella and everything. So she needs to take a responsibility for whoever she has appointed as her dance captain, and she needs to own all of that. And that will all come out. But, let's let it come out. Let's look at the allegations and, hopefully... Who knows? Because the world we live in, you can get away. It depends on how much money you've got. Depends on what kind of a lawyer you can get. And the defence and the prosecution can be also different.
But it's very interesting. I think the thing that's really hit home for me with this whole event is how quick people are to turn on fat, black, queer presenting
was fast,
women.
Wasn't it? Yeah.
So fast. You see the heinous, untwistable allegations that have happened even just within our performing arts sphere within the last 5 to 10 years. Like things that are, on camera. There's so many witnesses and people are like, well, we still need to listen to him because it's not proven yet.
Yeah.
But the minute it's a fat black woman...
Turn on, yes.
It's easy to turn on someone that you don't respect or even see as a person. Yeah. Absolutely. And black fat people to... More of the world than I think people like to admit, people don't view us as people. And it's easy to turn on, I even with Azalea Banks, I was having a conversation with someone about how, she, on the flip side, has done a lot of unapologetically heinous things that have been racist and fatphobic and homophobic. And I was talking to someone about how it's so funny to me that we just people just kind of giggle at it. And it's it's just Azalea Banks. And I was talking about it with a black friend of mine and she was like, yeah, but that's because people don't view her as a person. So it's easy to just laugh at, these silly homophobic things she's done because she's not real. She's not someone that we need to give respect to, no matter how successful her music career has been, no matter how many people on the flip side she's offended or been harrowingly homophobic to. It's it doesn't matter because it's not real because she doesn't exist. And I had a big think about it. And I know that there'll be some people that listen to that don't understand where I'm coming from with that. But it is, it's been very interesting to see how quickly people are willing to turn on someone like Lizzo.
The thing that I found interesting was that how quick they were... Because I had to question myself. Okay, I actually would turn on a man really quickly for, sexual allegations, and I didn't turn on Lizzo really quickly. So I had to question myself. Was that because she's a woman? Is that because she's a fat woman? And I was like, no, hang on. I turn on the men who are accused of these things really quickly because it happens so often.
Yeah.
So statistically... it's probably true. A fat black woman to be a bully, she's probably been bullied most of her life. So where would the compassion come in? And she's now come out, saying these are so baseless, these are so offensive to me, that she's lived a life on the other end to be accused of these things. And that's what I wanted to take in, because any of those, being a woman, being fat or being black, any of those separately make you have a different world. Mm-hmm. Putting them all together and then accusing someone of doing something that is so statistically easy for other people to do, to see people turn on her so quickly. But I will say this, though, on the way here, radio's still playing her music.
Yeah.
Which I was really happy about, because I thought they would drop her quickly.
Yeah. I watched the Matildas last night, and the ending song was a Lizzo song. I went, oh, okay.
Great. See, well, the world is changing.
But even I feel, I just feel conflicted. I think that's my takeaway from all of it, is just like conflicted and confused.
Yeah. Well, and I also think, like, dropping Michael Jackson or R. Kelly songs, and huge difference.
Yeah.
And a huge difference. So I think let's just watch it.
Yeah.
See how it plays out, and keep calling out people who are
being
going
fatphobic.
Going about it in all the wrong ways. So going into calling out.
Oh, wait, before that as well, I think something else that it's highlighted for me is how dangerous it is making one person a spokesperson for a movement.
Absolutely.
I feel like obviously there's going to be people that have louder voices in a community, but I think it just highlighted for me how desperate we are as a people for more representation of people that are those that are every intersection and walk of life. Because I think the reason so many people were heartbroken is like, no, my fat black person that is my person that I can say represents all these beautiful things is now not someone that I can point out in that way. And now it feels like we're back to having nobody again.
That's a great point.
And that just should not be the case. There should be enough. Like when white, straight, attractive men get accused of it, it's like, well, it's fine. We've got thousands of other ones that we can reference that are good men.
Them anyway.
Exactly. And as well, the thing is like, when like Lizzo not existing because she was the only one, it has made people feel righteous in their prejudice against people that identify with the different aspects of her personality and identity. Whereas when white men do it, it's like, well, we've got all these other people that do good things. But with her being accused of XYZ, it makes, I just think it's so important to have more than one spokesperson and role model in all your fields.
Well, I think you are one of those people. So
try to be.
Yeah, well, you are, and you're only getting older. So, and you're only going to keep existing in the world. So the more exposure I think of you, the better.
Thanks.
Because, people, there'll be people listening to this episode today who've never heard of you before and be like, this is interesting. Go and follow you. This is great.
That
Start
fat
learning
diva.
things. Yes.
Yeah, not many fat diva handle havers, so
it's a good handle.
I'm pretending to smoke for anyone who's just listening.
I love that your exhale was.
We got to let them know that there's smoke in it.
Yes, right. Calling people out on things. Now, you were just on a panel on stage and you were talking. You said backstage I just had a moment with Carly Finlay who corrected me on something. And was it you or her that said, I want to use the term calling in instead of calling out?
I say calling in.
Okay.
But, she was so kind. I actually can't remember exactly what I said.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter what you said. It was the
something
fact
that's been removed from my vocab now.
Oh, yeah. What was it actually?
No, I actually can't remember what it was.
Doesn't
but
matter
it was
then.
something. I mean, no matter what it was, I can't say it. So
Yeah, right.
But it was something, a word that has within the last few years by the disabled community been something that they're like, we consider this to be a slur.
Yep. Yep.
Not that it wouldn't have been considered before, but something that now is like a part of the.
I do wonder what it is. It wasn't the S word. Spaz.
No. I
Because
think it was.
Beyonce had that and
Yeah.
didn't know in England and England
I knew that
and
was a
around they
slur.
all, but they didn't. That in America it wasn't used
As in a.
as that.
Yeah.
So and a lot. I think it came out that the African American community used that for having a bit of a great time.
Yeah.
So, but she was so fast too.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
Lizzo was
and
the
Lizzo
same.
did the same.
Changed those lyrics so fast, and it's that easy.
Yep. But that was the thing is that Carly said that, and I was like, oh, I had no idea. Thank you.
Yes.
And on the post, Amy Marks These Pics is her Instagram handle, and she was also on the panel. And she was like, in that moment, I was like, I really respect Milo. I really like Milo. What's going to happen?
Yeah.
And then she was like, I did like a big exhale of relief but it really is that easy. I think
Yeah.
a lot of people don't.
So what did Carly say? She just said, "Oh, we don't use that word anymore."
Yeah.
And it was just that easy and simple.
Yeah, that was it. I was like, oh,
Thank you.
Slay,
And
thank you. I had no idea.
So good.
And that was
so
it.
good.
And then we just talked about something else, and then we went on stage, and then someone asked a question about, well, if I make a mistake, like, what do you do? And I was like, you just say thanks to the person that
Yeah.
told you, and then
And thank you for
move on.
calling me in. It was
Yeah.
such a nice way of. I shared that story at the time, that post at the time, on my stories, because I have actually twice now, and I'm not sure if it was the same person. So if you are one of the people or one of the same person that had to call me out twice on calling the First Nations of this country our First Nations people or our Indigenous people. I'm pretty sure it was two separate people, but it was two separate occasions because I did it again. And they were so lovely about it. And I was so appreciative. The second time it happened, I was like, did it again, embarrassed, but checked my ego because that's what's embarrassed and that's what gets defensive.
But also I think like shame, guilt and embarrassment can be our friends.
Yes, embrace them.
Embrace them. Recognise that feeling.
Yeah.
Be like, like I feel like people are afraid of having not happy, joyous feel, which I get. You don't want to be...
Not being positive all the time, not being
Yeah.
perfect all the time.
And you don't want to sit in that. You obviously don't want to sit in the shame and the
No.
guilt all the time, but it's
But
your
to
friend.
acknowledge it.
Yeah, it means that you're not going to make those mistakes again
Means you
because
care.
people don't like to feel like that.
That's right.
I had a teacher at uni. Black Lives Matter happened right smack bang in the middle of my degree.
Right.
Second year, 2020.
Wow.
Woo! That was something else. Nothing like doing a musical theatre degree in my family home in Perth during lockdown on my laptop in a Melbourne time schedule. It was hectic.
Wow.
5 a.m. ballet class. Delicious.
No. Oh, my God.
Oh, it was awful. I hated it. I was such a strutty cow. I apologise to all of my teachers who had me for the first class of the day.
But you know that teenagers and young adults have a completely different body rhythm and body clock.
Oh, yeah.
Dr. Carl talks about that. Dr. Carl Kruzhaliski, he does every Thursday on Triple J. He talks about how senior students and young adults should have a completely different time clock, our schedule, because they literally stay up all night and they literally can't wake up properly in the morning.
Yep. I was the worst.
Yeah.
I was the worst. I was a villain. My body had learnt how long the train ride was because I would get on the train and instantly fall asleep.
I used to do that when I was that age as well.
And then I would hear my station that I had to get off at and be like,
I wouldn't even hear my station. My body would wake up one station before.
Oh, that's good.
And I don't know how it did it, but it did it every day.
Yeah, and then the bus, I'd get on the bus and I'd have to be with a friend. I'd go, please wake me up one stop.
Oh, my God, me too. It's
So
incredible.
It was the worst when the boy who was like the school bully one day, I woke up and he was like, Milo, we're at the station and it's the last stop. You need to get off. And I was like, Sorry. Oh. Thanks. I was so embarrassed. Sent a message in the group chat like, blah, 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 just woke me up on the bus. I'm going to die. I'm literally going to die. Embarrassing.
Keep going. I've ended up getting on the last train, like getting to the last stop of a train station. It's frightening. It's frightening when you get and the train's empty by then, and I've had a train driver go, lady, you got to get off, and I'm like, where the hell I am Rockhampton.
Oh no,
I was in Rockhampton, Rockdale. My God, in Sydney. But so
hang on, yeah. Wait, what were we talking about? Why was I talking about uni?
Why were we talking about uni?
Oh, Black Lives Matter.
Yeah, Black Lives Matter.
Our teacher.
Right in the middle.
The teacher.
Yes, oh
I
my
was
God.
talking about.
Talk about going off on bloody tangents.
You can't help it. It's fine.
What we're like.
But I was talking about... We were talking about Black Lives Matter,
yeah.
And someone in our class was like, well, I don't think that I should have to feel guilty about blah, blah, blah. And my teacher was just like, shame is your friend. Shame means that hopefully, like,
you're learning.
In this lifetime, we won't colonise another country again, or in this lifetime you won't personally inflict harm through racism to other people. That's like
good teacher.
Sit in that. Yeah, she was a queen. I still talk to that teacher. That's one of the
Let's give her a shout out.
Margot Fenley. She's a queen.
Margot.
I love her.
God, I love that name, Margot.
Yeah,
such a great name.
Yeah, she was a cool lady. She was great.
Well, I'm glad she exists. And she was teaching someone something that day that was... How did the student... Do you remember how the student reacted to that?
Not good and then really good.
Okay.
Like in the moment was not a happy camper, and then since is one of the people that I still talk to since I've graduated, which is great.
That's so good.
Yeah.
Because reparations can really happen in real time. And that whole... I love, like, there is a word, resolutions.
Yeah.
They can happen. And they can happen really easily.
And like people evolving and becoming better people. Like, and as well that that person is like, I've become a better person because of that conversation.
How wonderful is that?
Yeah. And I mean, my class was so, people are learning, and it's comforting.
That's so good, because that's what life is all about.
Yeah.
I remember Kylie Minogue. I'm one of all people to talk about Kylie Minogue. I just remember when she was like, she's in her mid-50s now, but when she was about 30, I remember she said, I will never stop learning, ever, because once you stop learning, your life's over. She said, never think you know it all.
No,
and that
she's
goes back
so
to that whole, mid-30s, early 30s, I should say. You really do believe. I reckon it starts about 28 when you have your Saturn return. And you're going into adult, like I think in the Buddhist belief, you have certain lifetimes, certain age groups, which are not yearly. They go in 7-year increments.
Right.
And when you get to 28, you've just gone from adolescence into adulthood. Right. 28 is, and around. So it's very interesting because you start to take on an adultness that you've been looking at from afar and starting to grow towards, and then you're in it and all of a sudden you're a bit of a know-it-all. And that's, for me, the age where I got sat on my ass a lot by people. Like, I was sat down. Sit down, Yvie. You don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And I was humiliated so many times. And in hindsight, so grateful.
Yeah.
So grateful that I was. And now we have so many voices. I just did an episode with another woman, Heidi, who was talking about the table and how there's so many seats at a table, but we've never had one. Like, as women, we never had a seat at the table. And we're making our own tables now. We've got production companies that are female-led, female-driven, female inclusive. But I also had a producer, an EP, on the last TV show that I did, and she said to me, it's a really interesting thing watching all the heads of networks either dying off, retiring, mostly just one or the other, and there are now like Endemol, ITV, and I think Warner Brothers is now, as Channel 10, they're being led by CEOs of women. Which is all new.
That's
but she said the difference is they were always underneath, always. So the men you knew you were never going to graduate to the CEO. but you kept the ship running so incredibly well because, you know, there were so many women doing really the lion's share of the work. Guy at the top takes all the credit.
The credit and the money.
But she said the difference is now that the women are stepping into those roles, they are not turning it into a matriarch. They're not going, well, it's our turn now. Piss off men.
The men.
It's like, we know how important a man's voice still is, and a non-binary voice, and a woman's voice, and a gay voice, and a straight voice. And she said that's the difference, and that's what you're seeing now is the massive difference of we are happy to embrace and keep everyone in, whereas the men were like, don't let them in because they will take over. And then...
Well, the funny thing as well is, like, people don't realise how, like, without those voices, you're cutting out those communities and losing those communities' money.
That's right.
Like, when people feel included, they're more willing to want to pay
Use
up.
your product.
And
yeah.
I'm like, you
use
just
your brand. Watch you.
Like, it's just, yeah, it's ridiculous. I went to say the word.
Did you?
Yeah, that's
Okay, you found it.
Yeah, STUPID.
Okay.
Yeah, that was the word. But,
Clementine Ford is a big one on dumb, stupid.
oh, yeah. Though, yeah, it was not, I don't say the
moron.
D word anymore.
No, I do. And I've still got to check myself all the time.
But I had no idea that STUPID was considered a slur until Carly called me up.
Yes.
I went to say it, and then I went, oh.
It's funny because Clementine uses ding-a-lings or ding-dongs to, and it's so funny because she's seriously taking people to task and then calls them a ding-dong.
Ding-a-ling.
And I'm like, that's so weird, but it's just something you get used to. And the more I've seen her do it, the more I see, yeah, they are what I would call the M or the S or the D word.
Well, it makes you as well. I mean, for me, it was in that moment, Carly said that, and I was like, I don't know what word to use there instead, and it made me have a real think, and I was like, ill-informed.
Ill-informed.
It's ill-informed. It's uneducated.
There's so many words, and that's the beauty of linguistics and language.
Words change.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and that's as well why I guess I didn't know that it was considered a slur, because now we don't use that to describe people that are in some way disabled. It's to describe people who are ill-informed.
That's right.
But that doesn't change its origins.
No. I've absolutely enjoyed having you here and just looking at you, listening to you and learning from you. I'd like to say thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
You're so welcome. If you've liked this episode or you like this pod, please rate, review, leave 5 stars only. Review with good words. You've got a whole language to use there.
So
use
true.
all the adjectives you can that are positive. I can see my producer killing herself. You got to get it in. You got to get it in.
Why? Yeah. Follow the Instagrams and send us
DMs.
nice things.
Nice things. So that's a whole new word.
Well, I was going to say money, and then I went, oh, I don't want to.
Please do.
Yeah, if you want.
It'd be good if we had Venmo. In America, you can just send someone money.
Or you can PayPal.
PayPal.
Love a PayPal.
But I don't want to give anyone my PayPal because there's so many scams going on.
So true.
Just send us love instead.
There is a lot of scams going on.
So many.
Drama.
So Milo is on Instagram. You'll find her. I will be tagging her in our socials and everything. Please go and give her a follow and just get involved in the learning and the beauty. Your management describes you as a ray of sunshine, like the equivalent of a ray of sunshine, the epitome of a ray. It's something like that. When I read it,
good to hear.
I was like, that's exactly what I think of her.
Aww.
So I'm so glad that they get that.
Well, it's good that they describe me that way, because they always get me just at my absolute worst. Like, I'm tired. I can't have time. I can't send it.
But they know that's what makes good management, when they know that they get that, but no one else does.
Yeah.
And that's good because then they present you as the ray of sunshine that you are.
Love you to my management. Illy, you're the best, soz.
Oh, I love You've got 2 managements, yeah?
I do.
Yeah, because Bella, I just want to do a quick shout out to Chelsea. I just absolutely adore her. And her
She's
book,
queen.
Body Image Warrior, is one of the best books you'll ever read. If you haven't read it, it will change your life. Like, as far as a woman in the industry as a plus size model. I hate that word. Plus size model, but and her journey through it, but also how she created Bella Management and how hard she's worked. I highly recommend everyone to go and read this book. It's just brilliant. I read it, I think, in about 5 days. Like, it was page turner. Yeah, it was really, really good. And then I met Chelsea and I absolutely adore
There's
her.
an author called Paige Turner, and I'm like, she was born for that. That's hilarious. Paige Turner, are you kidding?
Turner.
Her parents knew exactly what the heck they were doing. Paige Turner?
It's better than Mike Hunt, isn't it? And on that note, we say goodbye.